Are you running a business but you are struggling of closing deals? You have so many prospects and leads, but you just don't know why you can't close those deals. And you even don't know how to send the best offer, and no matter how many times you try the offers that you send through, you just couldn't get a yes from the client, and you always end up become so stressful, anxiety, fear attacking you. I got you. And if that's you, you are in the right place. On this video, I'm going to share with you my secrets how I can close deals up to 6-7 figures and can be more than that. Of course, you'll ask me, who are you? I am Kristy. I have been in the logistics industry for more than 20 years. Before I started my own company, I used to working in the freight forwarding industry. I worked with small, medium, and large size freight forwarders that you can check my bio for those who have known me as well. Through my journey, I started as an operator role, and then very soon I was selected to go to those conferences and naturally become an international sales. When I say sales, I was in charge of overseas business development. And I started from no one as zero in the department to 26 people under myself. And then the business has grown up to millions of dollars business, and it has more and more offices opened up as well. When I started the journey, I didn't know how to sell. I was confused. But through all the practice, travel around the world, talking to people from different countries and all these CEOs in the world, the hardest deal that I would try to close, and the more I practiced, the better I became. However, reality hits when I start my own business. I thought, I know everything. I can close any deals. But the reality is, when I became an entrepreneur myself, I started to do the sales. Yes, at the beginning, the sales was easy for those I know. So I talked to those people because they know me so well. It's so easy for me to close a deal. But the reality is, I can't just rely on these people that I know. I need to improve my sales skills. Sales skills is also communication skills. I have spent so much money, time investing in learning from the best in the world. I attend seminars, bought online classes, watched the YouTube videos, and following the best of the world, those billionaires. I'm obsessed studying billionaires' habits and how their mindset going, how they become who they are through what kind of strategy and what kind of skills. And that's what I'm going to share with you. Before I share this with you, I want to give credit to all those people that I've learned from. Jim Rohn is my favorite teacher. He's amazing. I love his speech. I've learned so much from Myron Golden, and also I learned from Grant Cardone, Alex Hormozy, and so many more. I want to say thank you for teaching and for posting things online and for the books that you wrote. I've read all the books and written down all the notes. Of course, in marketing wise, I also want to thank Russell Brunson. You are such an amazing genius that you're so good at creating marketing stuff. So I'm very thankful. But here I am. I'm sharing this with you guys. If you have known any of these guys, they are amazing sales. And I'm going to share with you my conclusion through learning from the best of the best, and of course, applying with my own experience. 3.5 years, our business has grown up to millions. I started the company myself. Of course, I had a brilliant team because of my previous leadership skills that I've trained and I've been trained as well. I'm very thankful that my team is still with me and we are growing day by day. We're getting better and better because when you get together, you get stronger. Today, I'm going to share 2 things about sales. And when I say 2 things, I'm going to share 2 elements so that you will always learn from. Here's the thing. When you go to a video, usually they'll tell you, oh, you should do this and this and this. You can learn all of this to do things, but it's too complicated. That's number one. Secondly, I'd rather learn what not to do. Because here's the thing, if we only know what to do, we don't know what we shouldn't be doing. We're going to make so many mistakes that's not necessary at all. Tip number one, don't. Don't talk too much. What do you mean, Kristy? I'm a sales. I need to talk. Well, that's the biggest lie ever I've heard. And it took me so long to understand, because I remember when I started this career, I went to this conference. I was only pretty much 17, 18. And when I sat down with the CEO in front of me, I just couldn't stop talking about how good we are. We can do this, we can do that. I was passionate. People really liked me. But at the end of the meeting, I knew nothing about that company, and I have no time to ask any questions because the one-on-one meeting was too short. And I remember when I had this conversation with my director, he's laughing at me. He said, Kristy, all I'm saying is you just keep talking and there's no time for you to ask any questions for the other people. Back then, I didn't understand. I was so shy, and it was so awkward when he told me that. I was like, oh my gosh, yep, I would not do that. And from then I started to learn how to listen. It is still a problem, like it is still a big thing for me to adjust, because every time we sit down with someone, particularly for me, I love people. I want to communicate with them. I want to let them know about me, and I want to know more about them. I'm not going to always say things about myself anymore. I will ask more questions. But here's the biggest lesson I've learned. If you talk too much, you will never know how to close a deal, because your prospect should tell you all the context so that you know what's going on in their life, what they need from you. So to conclude, the opposite of talking too much will be listening and asking the best questions. It sounds easy, but listening is one of the top elements for anything you do, any sales you want to close, and it's actually the most important element in life. There are so many people, they're saying they're listening, but they're not. They hear from you, but then they turn their head, didn't really turn anything that you told them into their brain and transform that to amazing questions. When you're listening carefully, you will ask great questions. And then the prospect, the people who are talking to you, the one you're trying to help in the sales process, that they will listen to you as well. If you're not listening by your heart, they can tell. Unfortunately, there's so many people who like talking and talking. When it comes to the clients want to speak, they just don't give them chance. No doubt you cannot close the deal. So my question for you is, do you want to talk or do you want to win? Or the other question is, do you want to talk more or do you want to close the deal? The answer is obvious. So we have the first one. Don't talk too much, which is don't. And do, listen and ask questions. Now the second one we have here is ask them to buy. The biggest mistake I've made and many people made is ask people to buy. What do you mean, Kristy? Of course I want them to buy. Why don't I ask them? Well, there's a difference between you sell them something compared with they buy something from you. What does it mean? When you're really good at selling, people won't feel that you're selling anything to them. In fact, they'll feel that they want to chase you to take their money and to help them. And that's exactly what we're trying to say here. If you are doing a huge tender, big business, you're talking to the decision maker, there's one thing that you need to pay attention. If they know that you want to sell them something, they'll be very highly offended and they don't want to be sold. Nobody wants to be sold. The funny thing here is everybody likes to buy. You like to buy something, I love to buy things. Most people, 99.9, I would say 100% people like to buy something. Of course, because buying is amazing. But why is that so hard to sell? It's because we didn't get the game. It took me such a long time to understand if you really want to be the top salesman, you want to be like the billionaires, the one thing you have to learn is how to not ask them to buy, but to do is be a smoke. Wow, it sounds crazy. But I've learned from the book, I've learned from all the billionaires when it's chatty. I connect the dots. This is the top tip you need to consider. BS smoke means from beginning to the end of the conversation, they have no idea you're trying to sell them anything because you're not. All you're doing is to listen to them, ask them questions, and then they come to a conclusion for you. You just ask them, hey, so do you want me to help you? Yes, of course. Do you want me to do this? Yes, go ahead. All the conclusions and decisions are made by themselves, not you. And that is called BS smoke. What's crazier? The best sales that I've made is the prospect, the client, not just pay me a huge amount of money. He also said, thank you so much because we have concluded an amazing deal. Don't always position yourself as a person, as a cheap salesman that chase people to buy you. You don't have to let everybody buy you because you can be the one select your clients. That was a mistake I've made. I was so desperate to find a client and I just want to make the sale. But the more I wanted, the harder it became. I didn't enjoy the process at all. I felt like a scammer. Don't be a scammer. We have dignity. We have our self-esteem and we have our capability and value we can bring to the client. It's a mutual deal. There's a famous saying that an unclosed deal is a bad deal because it's a lose-lose conversation. It's a lose-lose result. The win-win result is to close a deal because you have all spent time in that conversation. The third mistake I've made is jump to the call without preparation. You know what's crazy is every time when I don't prepare the call, jump there and thinking that I'm the best sales, I can persuade anybody to buy my product, buy my service is the best, my thing is the best, and the result is always uncertain. And I feel like I'm nervous because I have no idea what's going to happen. Sometimes I'm feeling great, I might close a deal, sometimes I don't. And that's the biggest mistake I've ever made. What you should do that makes huge difference is to prepare even 5 minutes before each call, particularly the closing call with a client. There's a scientific research shows that if you want to have a 15 minutes call, you need to prepare 10% of the time, which is 5 minutes. But here's the truth. Through my experience, every single time, if I prepared even for like 5 minutes, the 5 minutes rule works. Every time I did that, I closed a deal. I closed 6 figures deal in one call. It's less than 20 minutes. It's amazing. But if I don't do the preparation, I won't close the deal. Or maybe I will, but I will lose the control. So always get prepared. The fourth mistake, which I have never made this mistake because I'm a very good note taker. But I want to bring up here because I saw so many people, they thought they were so good at sales and they were so good at all these things. They just sat there and talking, never put their pen out and take any notes. I have been taking notes from the day one I started the business. I follow around with the CEO. I took notes every single time. I got better and better and better. I remember the first time I started to take notes, I didn't even understand what they were talking about. I was like, excuse me, what did you just say? But the more I do it, the better I became. And even now, my team, they are amazing note takers. Every single one of them was trained. I remember when I started that, I was frustrated. I saw so many people, they didn't take notes. But now you can bring any of my team members that so fast, so quick, and they learn so much. And applying that to sales, if you don't take notes, what happens is you will rely on your brain, and sometimes your brain works well, sometimes it doesn't, and you might miss something, or after an hour or after a day or two, you forget about what you talked about there. Don't rely on your memories, always rely on notes. Nowadays, we have so many AI tools. Taking notes is way easier, but I still like to take notes physically because that helps you to refresh your memory and to memorize everything you discuss. Writing notes is so magical. I have friends who are already successful entrepreneurs. He's well known. Every time we have meetings, he will get his pen out, and I'm doing the same thing. And that means we're on the right track. If you haven't done that, you are an amazing CEO. I'm sorry to say, but that's probably one of the reasons why you haven't closed enough deals and you haven't really reached to another height yet. So what we should do on the opposite is you should take notes, pay attention, and repeat. When I say repeat, why? When you take notes, sometimes you need to acknowledge what the prospect said to you. Because if you do that, they know that you're listening. We'll talk about how important it is on listening. If you repeat what they said, they know that you're paying attention. You look more professional and you are more professional because you're putting all your heart, your mind, and be at present listening to them. When you are at present, nobody's gonna hate you. They're gonna really appreciate that you are paying attention to what they say. Mistake number 5 is sell. Well, we're talking about how to sell, but Kristy, you're saying you can't do sell. What does it mean? Well, we talked earlier that you ask them to buy is you're selling something, but you can't let people feel that you're selling something. When I say that, I'm sincerely telling you this, that we're not selling, we're serving, we're providing a service, we're providing a solution. So the mistake we've made is when we sit down with someone, we just think about, oh, I'm wondering how I can sell something to that person can pay me money. And if all your mind is thinking about money, you're not thinking about that person, your result won't be good. Because human nature is we just can feel and sense something. If it's right, it's right. If it's not, it's not. Unfortunately, being a great sales, you have to be very smart in emotions. If you don't control your emotions, you cannot control your prospect emotions, you cannot close a great deal. That can be another topic we can deep dive another day. But coming back to this is don't sell, and what you should do is solving problems. Imagine this, you sit down with your client. If they have been doing everything smoothly, they have already got a partner who they're working with for years, what is the whole reason they need to change the partner and work with you? Do you think you're the center of the universe? Do you think you're more prettier? Maybe you're more fashionable, stylish, whatever. No, they won't. And it's not fair you just persuade them to use you because you want to get rich or you want to get their business so that you'll be happy and say, come on, give me your business, please. Please don't do that. It's not good. All right. It is not good because that's selfish. If you're selfish, you're going to attract the same kind of people into your life. If you want to be successful, be wealthier, you should attract the right people to you. And you will only attract people who are similar to you. Let me say that again. You will only attract people who are similar to you. That means if you always want to sell people something, just because you want to sell, you don't care if they have a problem that you can solve or not, you're just going to burn yourself and you're just going to burn the bridge and burn the relationship. There's nothing good about it. Even if you earn this short-term money, it has nothing good for you or them, and you're gonna hate your job, you're gonna hate what you do, you will hate being a sales. That's exactly what's happening to this world. So many people hate selling. But hear me clearly, you have a misunderstanding about selling, because selling is fun. Because imagine if you're a doctor, you can solve someone's problem, save their lives, and helping them to solve something that's urgent, and you can also help them to save money, energy, and time, you'll be happier to do it, right? The mistake number 6, say bad things about your competitor. As a network owner, I always have conversations with many global CEOs, and when they want to join a network, they will ask me questions like, so why you're different? What's the difference between you and that network, that network? And I always try not to say anything bad about the other networks. I, in fact, will acknowledge what the other networks are doing, but I can share some extra stories if I hear from our members so they can decide what's the difference between us and them. But instead of saying that other people are bad, I rather say, hey, this is what we do this and that. We're not going to judge others because I believe every network has its worth, has its value. And if you do that, exactly like when you have a meeting with someone, imagine it's like, hey, John, why should I use you? How do you compare with the neighbor there that they can do the same thing as you do, John? And imagine you say, well, that guy, they're just cheap and they're not solving any problems. They're just really bad and this and that. Imagine that. Do you think this person will like you? Was like, oh, you just want to close a deal. You just want to get my business. So you say anything to push others down. It won't make you look good at all. Why should we do that? But this is one of the mistakes that many people are doing. Do you think it's better that when you make others look bad, you will look good? No, it won't. I always tell my daughters, sometimes they have competition. Two daughters, the same gender. I love them so much. They love me so much. But sometimes they will be, yeah, I want mommy, that kind of thing. Some days they'll be like, I want to look good. I might just do this so mommy will make me feel good. Like they will feel good. But I always say to them, you know what? If you make your sister look bad, you don't look good either. And I don't like that. I will love you more if you make each other look good, right? Like I still love them the same. I'm just saying. An example, the same to this situation. If someone wants to work with you, if you keep pushing down others, it doesn't make you good and it doesn't make you look good either. Instead, if you say great things, for example, you say, oh yeah, that neighbor, yeah, I think they're doing pretty well. However, they're doing more that way, we're more this way. It's really about what you need. When you say that, they will trust you more because you're not telling lies. You're not trying to be so desperate to get their business just because you want to sell them the business, right? Remember, instead of saying bad words about it, show data and be honest. If someone's saying, whoever has that, we can show them what others are charging in the other network. We can show them. Instead of they are worried about they need to do more research, you already done the research for them in front of your client. And it's like, wow, you're so professional. They have nothing, no objection you need to handle because you already thought for them. And also be honest. If you're not honest, it's impossible to build a long-term partnership. Number 7 is tell. So don't tell. What do you mean, Kristy? You asked me don't sell and don't tell. Don't sell and don't tell. Rap. Why do you say that, Kristy? Because instead of telling, we should show. Have you ever heard show and tell? Showing is way more effective than telling. That's why nowadays videos are the best way to close deals. People trust you just through the video they watched because you're showing them what's happening rather than telling them. It takes way more longer for a human brain to reflect and respond. When you tell them something, they have to imagine. It takes way more time for them to think about it. And that's why when there's a visual image, it's way quicker. I think it's 6,000 times faster or 5,000 something, that they will immediately say, wow. That's why nowadays we have some funnels that we work at this stage. We don't need to sell any of our network stuff. We just show how great the previous attendees and members who share amazing testimonials to us, just say, hey, this is what we do. That's it. Imagine when they see that you do this, they're just going like, wow, I want to be part of that. Instead of telling them, yeah, we're so good, we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that. They don't care. But when they see something, you don't even need to sell them. They're going to come to you and ask you, can I join you guys? Can I buy your things? That's your dream world, right? And another mistake I've made, and also many people made, is when it comes to offer, right? You send an offer, and many people will do this thing. Listen carefully. This is a huge mistake. And if you have fixed this one, I guarantee you're going to close 10 more deals a day or even more as long as you can make these appointments. You show the process. I'm a very detailed person. I'm also visionary. But when it comes to details, I'm very excited when I can show my client that, I have so much within me and knowledge and everything. I can help you to achieve that. I'm very passionate when I tell them. But the biggest mistake I've made was that when I start the coaching journey, I always start to tell them, hey, I can give you this, like overwhelm them. And they was like, most of the time they just step back and no, I don't want this because they're scared of the process. And it's like when you go traveling, right? Nobody wants to know what's happening in between. Let's say I'm traveling to Hawaii. I don't want to know the airplane part because I don't like that part. I don't like to waiting in the airport and all this kind of stuff. But what I want to know is if you show me, hey, let's go to Hawaii, go to the beach, the sunshine, and this dance is amazing, this food there, and all these things. And all you're focusing is you should show them the results. To conclude, when you show the offer, you need to show them what will happen once they join your service or program, and it will be way more effective that they will imagine, wow, I'm going to get that result. Show them the destination. Don't show them what's happening in between because that's going to be too overwhelming and you're going to scare your clients away. Next mistake I've made is nonstop. When I say nonstop is very much aligned with the first thing we shared, that you only talk too much. It's pretty much the same, but there's one thing that's different. When it comes to nonstop, is when you start the conversation, you keep talking and talking. You don't give chance for your clients to respond or to digest what you say. Sometimes your message and information might be really good and valuable, but if you don't give your client opportunities and time to process, you might miss closing the deal. What we should do is pause. It's also aligned with communication skills. When it comes to communication or public speaking, when you start talking and non-stoply, we tend to use filling words, noun words, things like, so, all these words. But when you pause, can you feel that tense? When you pause, immediately it feels important. That's why through the negotiation, through the persuasion process, when it comes to very important side, like the client is about to make a decision, give them time to process. When you say something, pause, they will then think, wow, I agree with you. I'm going to go ahead with it. This is so significant. We underestimate this pause. It's effective in storytelling, it's effective in public speaking, it's also effective in sales. And the next mistake I made is teach. I know when I'm talking to many CEOs, we all understand that the clients are usually not as knowledgeable as we are because we are the one who's doing the job. We are more experienced. But the problem is sometimes we tend to be like, oh, well, I know better than my clients. I need to educate them, right? When you say educate them, the attitude already will cause a potential loss of the sale, because no one wants to be educated by you when they come to find someone to serve them. When I say that, it doesn't mean we have to be secondary or we have to feel lower because we want to close a deal with a client. And sometimes we do need to educate our clients. But when it comes to sales process, if you want to close a deal, teaching mode is not the right mode at that stage. So what we should do instead is storytelling. So what we should do is storytelling. There's another famous saying in the business world, stories sell. If you want to make it sell, you need to use storytelling. That is the most powerful tool in the whole entire world, whether you are an Instagram influencer, a TikTok, whatever, a viral content creator. Storytelling is always the first priority of anything. Why? I can explain to you, because people are buying things just because they want to buy it. They want to buy it, not because they need to buy it. They just want to. Want is a huge word for emotion. If they're emotionally wanting to buy you, they will. If they don't feel is another key word, right? They're all emotional words. If they feel like buying you, they will. If they don't feel like buying you, no matter how much thing you want to teach them or how many things you want to tell them, educate, or say you should do this, you should do that, this is a problem, you should fix it and things, they won't listen to you because you're not touching their emotions. You're not touching that decision-making bridge and channel to touch their heart and they say yes, because their heart is a real boss who's going to say yes, and then their mouth is going to say yes to you. Have you ever heard, yes, you need to acknowledge someone and say yes, and then if you want to add something afterwards, it's called like criticism sandwich. You say but this is not very effective when it comes to dealing with your clients and making a sales. Why? So the number 11 mistake is you say, oh, when your client says something, you don't agree with that person and you can't wait to say no. Number one mistake, don't say no, because if you say no to your clients, you're disagreeing with them, the deal is gone. There's no chance you can close any deal if you say no to your clients, right? What do you mean, Kristy? I can't tell lies. I need to be honest. That's exactly why we need to learn this step. So instead of saying, say yes, but you can change this way. You say yes, and, right? You're not disagreeing with that person, but you add some elements that you believe is also right. If you don't disagree with them, they will also end up agree with you. You get it? You don't want to fight. Once there's a disagreement, the deal is gone. It's over. You don't want the deal to be over, right? You want to close the deal. And the 12th mistake I made is interrupt. Oh man, I don't know how many deals I ruined because I interrupt people too much. Well, there are a few reasons here. Don't blame yourself too much because I was always like that. Sometimes I might still like, oh, I'm gonna talk. But in the last year, particularly last 6 months, I think I practiced really well on that. Even though every now and then my little child, naughty child, will still come out and say, I want to interrupt. I want to say something. Let me talk. But you have to hold back. All right. So this is the biggest mistake. What happened is the reasons I shared earlier is number one is because you're so passionate. You really want to close this deal. Not because, like for me, not because I really want to close the deal for closing the deal, just because I really know this thing's going to help that person. So I was like, can I interrupt you for a minute? Something like that, right? If you ask, can I interrupt you for a minute? If the person said yes, then that's fine. What I'm talking about is you interrupted without they even haven't finished their words. That's really rude. And I did that before. And I felt like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Just because I was too passionate. So you need to understand, you need to be more sensitive in things like that. Be more aware that when they are talking, let them finish saying what they say. And this is a maturity also as a leader. When you listen to your staff, I sometimes do interrupt them. But recently, I've done so much better. I let them talk. I mute myself. With virtual call, there's a significance, right? There's a convenience. I can mute myself. If you don't interrupt them, what you should be doing is you keep listening until they finish. And remember we mentioned earlier, there's another amazing tip is to repeat what they say. Don't interrupt. And what will happen is immediately it will increase the percentage and possibilities for you to close the deal. Again, it all comes down to one thing, is listening. If they know that you're listening so carefully, they can trust you more. And the 13th mistake I've made is I was afraid of closing the deal. I hand off the deal, hand it off and say, yeah, you're not feeling like buying, that's fine. I didn't make any efforts, so just let it be. And then I didn't add any call to action, right? For example, there are two situations I faced. Number one is they are not very interested, but I didn't know what to do. I thought, oh, right, it's the wrong client, let it be, right? But there are still some ways you can do. Any person on the planet can be your potential client if you know how to sell. When I say sell, is you master your skill. You can sell to any single person. They have nothing or you have nothing to sell, you can still make up something to sell. And when I say that, I'm not joking because I've done that. Many billionaires and successful people have done that too. But that's not the situation I want to focus here. The second one is which I want to focus. For example, I've closed a deal, but I didn't even bring up the agreement or payment links or anything. Usually the best sales is like they close the deal on the spot. the person will just say, hey, you want a credit card or you want this link or that link. If you don't do that, what will happen is human beings are very special and very hard to guess animals. Why? Because we change minds so quickly. Not just myself. Like I don't change mind very easily because I practice a lot. When I make a decision, I go for it. But 90% of people, they will change their mind because they're not sure. And the fear, anxiety, the more they're waiting, the more you allow the space and room for them to change their mind. And that's the mistake I've made so many times. I said, nice conversation, we did so well, and the deal's closed. But when I said closed, I didn't send them anything. I just sent a link, whatever. And then they're so busy, particularly my clients, they're all CEOs. They're so busy, they forget about it. And they say, you know what, it's too much. I changed my mind. And again, I'm not here to force you to close a deal that this person doesn't need you. But if you know that your product service can help that person, you should be the proactive doctor. You should be willing and not be afraid to bring up the CTA. What's CTA? Call to action. Tell them, hey, let's do this. The smartest guy, that when they close a deal, they'll just say, you want a credit card or you want an AMS or you want a payment link or you want the invoice, right? Immediately ask the question. Oh yeah, send me the invoice. Next day, paid. And they say, yeah, you want monthly payment or you want one-off, right? Ask questions like that. Don't ask, so you want to go in or not? You're waiting for them to say no. Don't allow that room because people are really funny. They just, whenever there's a room they can escape, they'll escape. And you know what? That's why they're not transformed. They're not changed. When you want to help someone on their business, particularly as a coach, when I need to help someone, before I was scared to close a deal because I was like, again, I felt like a scammer because I didn't know that my heart is really to serve them. I didn't really need that money, honestly, because I can close bigger deals, whatever. But when I see that person was struggling, I really want to help them. And when it comes to that point, I'll become so unstoppable. I'll just say, hey, you want to do this? Let's do it. Come on. Which way you want to pay? Or let's meet up. And the very effective way here as well, usually I will say, let's schedule the next call, right? Schedule the onboarding call. What this does is, number one, you have blocked because they already agreed on their conversation and then they have nowhere to go now because they committed to it. And then you now block your time with that person. And that person's like, yep, I'm committed. I'm going to meet you. So before I meet you, I need to get this done. That's what I did. And this is so effective. And again, if that person is not a client that you can help, please don't sell them. Please don't. Because you don't want to become a scammer. You don't want to ruin your reputation. There are thousands of ways you can earn money. Don't put money first. Money is always not first, okay? It is important, very important. It's a great tool for you to achieve great success in life, but it shouldn't be the final goal. If your final goal is money, you will not become very wealthy and you will really burn yourself out because money is endless. You can earn as much as you want. But what you need to focus is really reputation. Reputation is number one. And if you can help someone, go for it. Use all the strategies and get that person. This person is going to thank you later so much because I've received so many testimonials and heartwarming. And I was like, wow, I'm thankful that I've done it. If I don't kick that person a little bit, push them a little bit, they won't make that decision. They will still stay where they are. After 10 years, they will still be the same, right? So be bold, courageous if you're doing the right thing. And the next common mistake when it comes to sales is many people know that the clients are thinking, oh my gosh, what can I afford this? This is so expensive. And I'm afraid I cannot commit to this and all this kind of stuff. You can read their mind, but you try to avoid that because you don't want to bring this hard conversation. So the mistake I've made as well is avoid hard conversation. On the other word is you're actually avoiding talking about the elephant in the room. It's like you can see that they're so, wow, it's a lot of money. Oh, am I really going to do that? They're so scared. But you leave them there, right? Let them think. Then you should say, hey, tell me what's bothering you. Is it the fee is too much? Is it payment? Do you want to adjust the payment methods or whatever that I can help? When you bring up that conversation, you will help them to solve that problem. Because if you don't do this, what will happen is usually they'll say, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. That means they're not sold it. They actually need to talk to their whatever they say. I will talk to my husband or wife. I talk to my team, and I'll come back to you. And it's because the fee maybe it's a bit too much out of their budget and anything. So you need to measure, is that something you can do, or you give them the payment method. And you need to talk about it with your client, because if you avoid this conversation, if you don't talk about it, alternatively, the sales won't be closed anyway. In saying that, I've learned a very magical method for this, and it is called the worst case and best case scenario. What does it mean? It's rather than avoiding the conversation, you can say, hey, what you worried about? Let's talk about it, right? So the best case scenario, you get what you get, and it's going to happen, right? The worst scenario, you have nothing to lose. When you bring that up, they will think about it, right? You're right. Because most of the time, it's a fear that's stopping the person to make a decision. But usually the most successful people in the world, they make decisions really fast. They know what they're doing. They know the result will be good. And the worst scenario they already have in their mind. But not everybody is good at that. When it comes to making a decision, there's a lot of people who are procrastinators, and they tend to delay a decision. They say, I want to think about it. I want to sit with it for another night, another day, 2 days. Time's gone. They waste all this time. If you want to do it, what you're thinking about, why you need to take another day or two? For me, I'm very quick in decision making. I remember in Think and Grow Rich, there's a story talking about this guy who's really successful. I think it's Andrew Carnegie. And the guy said yes, straight away, within like 2 or 3 seconds. And the guy was like, wow, I'm amazed. You are the quickest person who made this decision ever. And this person became so successful. And don't let procrastination control you. You are the master of your own mind. Again, come back to this. The worst scenario, best case scenario, when you say that, you will clean up all the worries and it will help you to close the deal much faster. And the 15th mistake I made as well is when I started to run a company, at the beginning, it's all because of passion, love, what I do, can help people. But when you face the reality, you will be like, oh my gosh, I need to pay the bill. I'm so stressed out. I need to close the deal. So you start to think more about your own interest and your staff and your people, which is understandable. But when it comes to that, when you jump to this conversation with a prospect, with a client, you need to change that mind. Because if you don't feed your mindset in the right place, human natures are pretty funny that we just have that instinct. We can feel if you're telling lies or if you're honest. And if you're really thinking for me or just thinking for yourself. If you think all for yourself, right, and your own interest, you can hardly close a deal. Because all your mind is looking for the words to say about what's going to make them to say yes, just because I want their business. No, that's not the way to go. The right way to go is really think about it. What can we do so that they can really benefit from this deal? You can really solve their problems, right? We talked about that earlier. And that is why this is the biggest mistake. Don't make this same mistake as I did. And once I solved this part, every deal that I went to, I closed it because I'm at my client's interest. I want to make sure that this whole thing will help them, not me. And they will feel that, they will understand that. And in fact, I spend less energy in persuasion. I spend less energy in explaining or selling anything. I just really tell them what's happening and show them what's already happened. It's up to them if they want it or not. Don't make the same mistake. So on the opposite will be think of your client's interest. Next thing is pretty much the 16th one. It is very obvious, and we mentioned earlier on the other element, but I want to bring it up again here because it is really, really important. When you position yourself as a doctor, you will never lose any sales. So instead of being a businessman, you should be a doctor. I remember there are so many conversations that, particularly at the beginning of the sales, I lost my patience, right? I couldn't stop. why I couldn't close the deals, what's going on? And I sat there, I was impatient, and then people jump into the call with me. I was like, don't waste my time if you're not the right person. My attitude was really bad because I was confused about what I was doing. And when I looked back, oh my gosh, no doubt I couldn't close the deal. Because all I was thinking is, I'm a businesswoman, I'm a businessman. That's why if you are talking like this, if you hear someone who are talking like this person who talks like this will not likely build up a big business or close big sales. Nobody wants to be treated like a product and commodities. And if you treat each other like, oh, I'm a businessman, let's talk about business. Come on. Anything outside business, don't talk to me. Do you think people want to talk to you? They won't die without you. No one would die without any one of us. So instead of position yourself as their salesman or businessman, how about think about being a doctor? You're here, they make this call, ask them questions. What's happening? Why are you feeling uncomfortable? What's your pain point? How can I do for you? How can I help you? And then when they share all the things, the reason they come to see you, they know there's something you can help them with, right? Even if you are just being a listener, there'll be something you can deep dive that you can then create something creative to solve the problems. So don't always speak like, I'm a businessman, I'm a businesswoman, let's just talk about business. Trust me, that attitude will not take you so far. The last but not the least, don't dare to make an offer. Every day we're making offers. When you get a job, your employers are giving you an offer, you take an offer, you're given an offer or you are receiving an offer or you're taking an offer, right? And making an offer is one of the best lifesaver skills and the practice I've done. I made so many offers that you can even hardly count what type of offers that I've made. But the moment when I learned how to make offers, I turned my business. One day I can close 5 to 6 figures deals in like one phone call and things like that. Because if you can solve the problem, your offer has to be aligned and customized for them. But here's the thing, if you don't believe that you can do it, you won't even look for solutions to do it. And secondly, if you don't practice, you will never get there. At the beginning, when I made offer, I was so scared. I made very small amount. And then afterwards, when people accept it, it's like, oh, I should quote it more. I wish I've done better. But it's okay. One step at a time, practice makes perfect. I started with small, like 4 figures quotation, and then it turned to 6 figures later. It takes time. You can't just want to climb to the mountaintop with one step. With the offer challenge, I'm about to launch a program to do offer challenge so that I can help more CEOs, entrepreneurs to have a freedom in their business, hands-free CEO life. Plus, you can learn how to make amazing offer that you don't have to close 100 deals a month, maybe just one, even 10 maximum deals a month that is already more than the 100, 1,000 deals that you closed before. And if that's you, you're interested, you're welcome to comment on the chat or on their YouTube video, and my team will be reaching out. And we're also going to share with you some free download stuff. And you ask me, Kristy, why you do that? Because I want to give back to the community. I believe YouTube and this video is where I can share all the things. I believe in giving, investing. Once I sow in the seeds, you will know me and your business will grow. And I would love to hear from you that how much your business has grown through my channel, through listening to me. That will be my biggest asset and heavenly treasure that I would always cherish. Thank you for being here with me. I am Kristy. I am an author, entrepreneur, speaker, as well as a coach for CEOs. And I'm very glad that you've been here with me. I can't wait to see you next time. Be blessed, and remember, you are just one offer away to be a billionaire.